I'm really excited about what's going on. Who I am, who is Coach Brian? Coach Brian is been a health nutrition coach for the last 2 decades. Yeah, that's about 20 plus years or so. I work with everyday people trying to figure out improving their health, their nutrition, their lifestyle, focusing on balance and bettering themselves with stress management, time management. Before that, I was a gym owner for about 5 years. I've been a personal trainer for about 7-8 years, and I have an exercise nutrition degree all the way back in 2004. So today we're talking about better balance, better you. It looks like there is a Q&A box that is open and available, so please put your comments there as we go. I do like participation. You can comment below as well, and it just makes this more fun. So today's better balance, better you. How do we find that Zen-like quality of lifestyle in our quick, fast-paced lifestyle world that seems to just never slow down? And you see in this picture, we got the lady trying to practice Zen while being at her workstation, her desk, with her computer, her cat, and have a nice cleanly space there. Cleanliness is important. So today's agenda of finding this balance. So we're going to go over what it is in the first place. Number 2 is productivity, how to manage what productivity is, what it looks like, how to do your best to get more. Time management, how to schedule and appropriate your time wisely, effectively, and efficiently. Multitasking. We aren't good multitaskers, I promise. No one is. And therefore, you have to be conscious of that and not try and overload your system of doing things. Overworking, what does burnout look like? And setting priorities for yourself, like what's most important for you. Today, balancing for a better you. So we know there's work. I'm 41. I have 4 kids. The oldest is a freshman all the way through freshman in high school through middle school, 3 in middle school, 3 boys and girls. So life is super fast, super busy, a lot going on. On top of that, I have family demands, I have work demands. I'm coaching people all over the U.S., helping them figure out their own balance and lifestyle to reach their goals. So there's a lot of to-dos in there every day. You can't make your responsibilities go away. That's obvious. There's always going to be a laundry list of things you need to do. But how do we find that way to better prioritize, seek out what's most important versus what's least important, and how to manage them appropriately? How do we balance that time management skills that you do or don't have? Remember that time management is a skill set. No one's born with it. You can manage your time wisely by setting the stage for making things simple and easy to do. It keeps you less stressed, more fulfilled. Common themes of how to make sure that we are organized, more balanced. So planning, I have this concept, PPA, plan, prepare, act. And if you're not planned out, you're not going to be prepared for what's coming, and you're not going to be able to act on it or implement or take charge of whatever the situation is in that time of the day of what you need. Say for the health exercise example, if you haven't, say you're going to go to the gym, so you planned out that you're going to go to the gym after work instead of going home and fighting with the couch and moving the rest of the night. If you didn't prepare your gym bag in a sense and take it with you, then you're not going to be able to act on it. And then when you have to go home to then get your gym clothes on, you're going to have problems. You're going to be challenged with all the other responsibilities or the fatigue, I'm tired type mentality that is going to cause you not to go to the gym or be incredibly less likely to do so. Prioritizing your health. Health has to be one of the first and foremost. Sleep is something that people really shy away from. They don't prioritize that. People don't prioritize eating good, healthy foods. They don't get to the grocery store. Therefore, they're not planned and they don't have food prepared. And then they end up eating out or fast food or whatever. Not being present and focused on what's happening right now. What's really important is the focal point of this specific moment in time. When we can focus on that, then everything else usually goes a heck of a lot better when we can just stay focused and be mindful and present of what's going on in your situation. Avoid things that hurt rather than help. We don't want to have multitasking. We don't have obscene amounts of notifications. We just don't want to be distracted in today's world. There's so much going on that it's really hard to manage. And measure and assess. What gets measured gets done. What gets tracked gets assessed. What gets scheduled is more likely to happen. Therefore, if you are managing your day, your time, your stress, you can keep a little bit better grasp on it by just staying more focused there. Next up, productivity. Accomplish more with less. So let's define what productivity is. It's the relationship between quantity and quality of the output that you're doing, whether it's a service or a product. The resources that get used to produce it, that helps us understand the quality and the quantity. You say time. Time is always important. If your team of a few people can get a lot done, that's a very productive team. If your team needs more people and it takes longer, that's not very productive, of course. So higher productivity means accomplishing more with the same amount of resources, or achieving higher output in terms of volume and quality for the same input. So that's something to just note there. So depending on what you do in your company, now for me, I am a service business and I am myself the only person in it. Now I certainly could hire out to facilitate, like I'm making a holiday guide right now. I could give the input of all the words that I wanted to use, but then pay someone to design it for me. And then that would eliminate one less thing I did so I could focus on other tasks and priorities. That could be a really good thing for me to do if I wanted to do that to increase my overall productivity, to get that product done faster. Benefits of productivity. Well, of course, we have greater output. You can just literally get more done. More happens in less time. It's more efficient. It's more effective. There's a higher quality that gets assessed. There's less error and less resources used, in a sense. A greater accomplishment. Achieving more with higher productivity creates a sense of accomplishment. Of course, right? If your team can accomplish a lot with what has been tasked to you, it's really exciting to feel accomplished. Everyone wants that. Everyone's working towards some form of personal growth and personal development every day. There's less stress then. If you are knocking things out and accomplishing them and not taking a long time, you actually just feel at ease quite a bit more and a little bit more relaxed, which is important to not feel overwhelmed in a sense either. So less pressure to get the tasks done. There's more time or more effective use of time happening. Then we have less burnout. Efficiency improves the ability to cope. Of course, we don't get burned out. We're not overwhelmed. We're not feeling frustrated. We're not defeated. We're not redoing work that we already had done, but it didn't get saved or something like that. Life hacks for greater productivity. What do we do to help get more productivity happening for you? Well, the obvious is creating a schedule. Blocking off your time, writing things down, making sure that you have it out of your brain and onto paper so that you can see that. For me, I'm really good at lists. I have a list that's just right over there. It's got a bunch of crossed off things that were important, that needed to get done, that are now done, and I've moved on. We want to limit distractions. We are bombarded with these things. I had to turn off some notifications on my computer just a little bit ago. I'm constantly turning off notifications on my phone to help limit that. There's things like Screen Time is an app on the iPhone at least. There's certainly some on like the Google, the Androids, Samsungs that you can do to limit the amount of notifications, dings, beeps, buzzes that your phone makes or your computer makes to allow for more focus on what is happening right now. Like right now, we should all be paying attention here. I'm doing my best to pay attention since I'm delivering this webinar. Sleep. If you don't get sleep, you're tired. If you're tired, you're less focused. You have a little bit more likeliness of brain fog. You're not clear on what needs to happen or how it needs to happen. You can't stay fueled throughout the day with just consistent energy. The afternoon often runs into the 2 p.m. nighttime sleepiness. Keep clean your workspace. We want it to be tidy. That's why I mentioned that in the very first slide where you saw the image of the desk. Was clean. Cleanliness is so important for humans to manage in their day-to-day. If things are cluttered, there's too much stuff in a certain process that needs to happen, or just too many words, people will check out. They will not read. They won't look at it. They won't, any of that stuff. It won't happen there. So we'll shut down and use it as an excuse to procrastinate even further. Eating healthy, of course. If you're not eating healthy, whole foods, lean protein sources, fruits, vegetables, some starch, a little bit of fat, healthy fats, nuts, seeds, and avocados and stuff like that, then you're going to run out of gas. You might have lots of calories, but you're not going to have a lot of nutrient-dense food, and it's not going to function in your body as well. So you'll have a little bit more lack of mental clarity, lack of focus, and ultimately long-term just sluggishness and not being responsive in a sense. So with time management, making the most of what you have. We only have 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week, and all of us are running out of time, right? Every single person is on a dead-end road here in a sense. And so we want to make sure that our time is valuable, it's productive, it's useful, it's helpful, there's value in it, it brings joy and impact to those around you. Let's check in how people spend some of their time. Number one is we're all working, right? I work from my phone, but I've got a fair amount of phone calls all throughout the day, typically anywhere from 5 to 12 phone calls in a day where I'm talking to people about their health, their lifestyle, and how to make the most of it. But most people work in 8.5 hours, or they're on site for 9 or 10 sometimes or more, unfortunately. The weekday itself, but even people work on the weekends. I personally do hold coaching calls on the weekend. It helps, one, alleviate my schedule throughout the week. Example being tonight, I will be busy from 5 till about 9 p.m. working, not working. I'll be enjoying my son's middle school play. He's a lead character. He is going to be doing it tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. So 3 plays in a row I'll be watching and excited to cheer for him. So that's part of my time. So I have to schedule around my day, my work, and all that. So that's why I work on the weekends, to alleviate some of that stress and pressure, and not be able to fit people in a sense. Watching TV more and more time, screens. I'm having a very hard time in my household limiting it. I use my phone a lot because I work from it. That's an ongoing issue. I do try and place it down whenever I can and get away from it. That is important. People are watching TV, they're socializing, they're also just scrolling, spending more and more time on TikTok and all that stuff, and it really potentially can be very limiting and a big distraction in your life if you don't know how to use social media to your advantage. Certainly you can keep up with people and participate in their lives, but if it's causing you to all of a sudden you just lost an hour of your day, that's not a good use of your time. And screen time's 4+ hours a day. That would be probably outside of your work. So we've definitely been heavily reliant on our phones more than ever in our society, and it's not going anywhere. I don't know what or how to help my children manage the amount of screens that are going to be in their life moving forward. Where do you spend your time? Now, this is a time audit. This is a really useful thing you can do if you're always busy, which every single person that I've talked to and worked with is always busy. People have stuff going on in their life and they want to be busy. Nobody wants us to be like bored at home. That's not fun. So if we keep track of where you're spending your time, I have a 3-day time audit that I'll have certain people do. Every 15 minutes, you write down what you're doing, literally every 15 minutes, and it really calls attention to where you're spending your time. Now, I can't tell you how many people just don't, allocate their time appropriately. They always say they don't have time, which is false. Everyone has time that they're wasting in a day, and it's something that you can pay attention to make sure that you are using it appropriately. Use a schedule, of course, for big events. Technology is obviously smart, setting up your calendars and having notifications and times and being able to track your apps. Like I said, the screen time app will show you where you're spending your time. You can even set limits on the amount of time that you have available. And so that's something that I'm doing with my oldest son to track where he's spending his time on the phone. So I know how much he's using it every day and where he's spending it. He spends more time than I would like playing phone video games. So I keep encouraging him to use his time wisely and not just do that. Now, evaluate findings. Am I distracted on certain tasks? Are there certain items in my day that cause me to want to delay? Are there certain situations that are showing up in my day that cause more stress or want to procrastinate or cause fatigue? These are all things to know. These are things to start paying attention to so you can manage it better. Are you allocating your time appropriately? There's things like Pomodoro timers. It's like 20 minutes of work and then like 5 minutes of rest. And so you can have set these timers to do really intense focus work, to have a little bit of break built in so you can just work, and then rest. Now, humans can't just keep working hours and hours on end. It just doesn't happen. So it's important to note that. And then where do you find yourself wasting time? Is it around certain tasks? Is it certain times of the day? And how do we enjoy it more and then not have it cost you more time in a sense? Life hack: being responsible and reasonable with yourself. So patience is a virtue. I work with people that want to lose weight a lot and like 30 pounds a lot. That's going to take a fair amount of weeks of focused effort. If you're 30 pounds overweight, you're looking at a minimum of 3 to 4 months of focused effort to get the weight down. And that could take even longer depending on how much effort, energy you can put into it. It could take over 6 months. If you're losing a pound a week, that's 30 pounds, 30 weeks. That's a reasonable time to lose. Might not be what you want. You might want to get the weight off soon and never have it come back. But there's all sorts of different situations, like everything we're talking about, having balance, figuring out what are the causes of why they gained the weight in the first place, what are triggers around food? How do they manage stress around food? How do they share time with themselves? Now, setting realistic deadlines. So we go back off I need to lose 30 pounds. 1 to 2 pounds a week is a realistic, reasonable amount of weight to lose in that time frame. Yes, I've had people lose it faster, but if we lose weight faster, we really need to be paying attention to making sure that you are not you're doing things in a way that are sustainable. Humans will allow as much time as allotted to complete a task. Meaning, if you have a deadline at work and this Friday, let's say today's Thursday, so let's say it's due in 2 Fridays, so not this Friday, next Friday. Some people will have enough planning and patience to schedule out appropriate amount of time every day to do the work so it gets done in a reasonable amount of time. Others won't do that. Others will just wait until the last minute, procrastinate, and then cram doing the work in. So if it takes till next Friday to do it, some people will complete it beforehand. Some will do a little bit all the time, and others will take 2 days beforehand and start doing it. Okay. Now we want to celebrate successes, victories, and journeys along the way. No matter how big or small they are, we want to acknowledge. Humans definitely obviously enjoy positive feedback, but they enjoy negative feedback even more. And we see this because it's always the case of marketing and media is focusing on the negative more so than the positive of the situation. And what does it say? It takes like 10 positives outdo 1 negative or something like that, and 3 positives outdo a negative, and therefore it just is if we start with positives, then we can be successful. Like if you start your work meetings out with the positive things, that's great. It gets you in a solution-seeking mindset in your brain and allows you to see things from that lens of focus. So you like flash on the positive energy viewpoint lens to look through, rather than there's always problem, there's always challenges, and those type will always get you to seek more of what you had seen. So in my coaching, I always start with successes, things that are going well, knowing that everyone I work with is trying hard to figure out what's going on. How do they get the best for themselves? So I hope you do that too. There's a to-do list. Get it out of your brain. Get it onto paper. My wife loves scrap papers. Let me get my to-do list. I'll get it. It's right here. All right. It's right here. So we've got to-do list. Let's see. There we go. There we go. So a bunch of things that are crossed off because I've been working on it, and then I flipped it over and I started writing more stuff of things I need to do. Because I'm focused on it, then I can actually make a plan and a process here for me to be successful. If you get it out of your head onto paper, it clears out your mind. It allows your subconscious to go to work on it. It doesn't just cloud up space or RAM, so to speak, in your memory. And your body and everything just operates a lot better. Planning out what you do in a day, in a week, in a month is important to stay organized. Take advantage of idle time. I call this net time. It's a term I found. Net, no extra time. When you're commuting, maybe you're the passenger, you can get a lot of stuff done. If you are doing certain chores that are less, like yesterday, I was listening to some sales training on how to communicate better through direct messages while I was cooking dinner. So there certainly have to go back and review the material some more, but it gave me the overall understanding. I was multitasking, but the effort and impact was within line. I wasn't trying to do heavy tasks. I was listening to something to further educate myself on how to communicate better and engage with more people. So how do we find those times? Respond to emails, reconnect with family or friends. For one big thing that I do with my work is I get people to walk and talk. If you're connecting with someone via the phone and an email, text messages, you can be upright and moving. If you do it that way, that allows for you to be able to enjoy getting yourself in order there. So meditate to prepare for and relax for the day. So we can use that, a calming sensation or breath work where you breathe in and then exhale to be able to allow for relaxing your body, relaxing your mind, relaxing your energy systems. So let's chat. What are some other activities you do with your idle time? Now, today I'm working. I've got about 4 hours worth of time for the play. My free time, I'm working again or getting chores done. Those are what I'm doing with my idle time. If I'm driving a car, say I drove home today from dropping my kids off at school, then I was able to focus on re-listening to that training or so. So how do you think these activities would be beneficial? So someone just chat here that some of the activities they do, or they listen to podcasts while they're out in the backyard working. Another one, they have some entertainment on while they're doing daily chores. So you still like two birds, one stone, right? You put your laundry away while you get some entertainment and stuff. So you can do that not necessarily in your absolute free time, but in your multitasking time, because you can watch a show and fold laundry in a sense, and that be a good use of time. Okay. Oh, we got to do the question. We got one more here. I need to listen to music while cleaning the house. 100%. We have Alexa in our house. Alexa's always playing music. Alexa, play music. And then if I don't like what she did, I said, play music. And she just keeps rotating through different genres or groupings. So what's your favorite music to listen to? That'd be the next question there. Is it lively, something with beats and entertainment, or is it something that's a little more easygoing in a sense? All right, onward we go. Taking a lunch break. I can't tell you how important this is. You cannot work from day to night, 100%. It's not going to happen. You need time in the day to be able to check out and be able to relax and focus on something else in life. All right? You just cannot just work all day long and be productive. It doesn't happen. Humans just don't have the bandwidth. Now, it's unfortunate, but nearly 20% of Americans worry that their bosses think they're not working hard enough if they take lunch breaks. While nearly 90% of people claim they do so, that when they do, they feel a lot better. They're refreshed, they're ready to work again. So if I owned a business and had employees in a desk job type situation, I would almost make it mandatory for some level of activity in the midday lunchtime. Like, hey, everyone, let's work out, let's walk, let's do something to be productive and fit and take care of ourselves, and we'll have better energy in the office here. Taking breaks increase productivity, mental health, well-being, creativity, creates time for other healthy habits. Now, multitasking, we talked about it. It's not a solution. Only 2.5% of people are effective at multitasking. It just isn't a thing. Okay, it's just not a thing. And the less mentally prepared, the less organized, the struggle from switching from one task to another, it's a real thing. You can't be focused on this have to get interrupted because someone shows up at your door at the office for that. And then you get back to this and you're like staring at it sideways like, what am I doing here? And how am I working on this? Like it's fatiguing and it's challenging and we just don't need to do it. You can't, and then when you're exiting that task, you want to be able to write down what you need to do, how you need to do it to make it more enjoyable for yourself as well. Shifting between tasks prevents being focused and present on whatever it is that you're trying to do then. So how do we do this? We're going to make a list, of course, what's important, what's not, specific amount of time, who should be working on it, or what resources do I need to help. Limit distractions. Try to remove all potential distractions, disruptions. We don't need notifications or emails or buzzes or phone calls. We can put on do not disturb to be more productive here. And this includes your phone. You just don't need it a lot of the time to stay focused. And what I said, bookmarking it. It's when you're switching from one thing to another, it's really, really important to take important notes to help you quickly fast track the situation to be able to get right back on track there and get back into the task at hand. Now, trying to not be overworked. It's a real thing. More work. Like you can just see this image. A woman is stressed. She just doesn't look very enthusiastic about what's going on in that image there. A lady sitting at a desk with her laptop and paper stacks on the desk and papers flying everywhere. Looks stressful. Next there, something that can lead to exhaustion, stress, and burnout is just not taking those breaks, just feeling buried under long work hours. Sitting or standing for long periods of time, if that's type of your work, then that will be a challenge too. Posture, like people slumping around forward, and that causes body issues, what we call musculoskeletal disorders. So you have pain in your joints, or your ligaments, or your muscles, tension as well. I've been standing and I've got 2 chairs and I just keep shifting side to side to help me manage. Now, what are signs that you need a break? Of course, like body pain, aches, dizziness, headaches. You're staring off into the sun and trying to daydream about something else. You just can't get the task done. That's definitely a sign that you're overworked and need a break. So we schedule breaks in the day. You can have a certain amount. You got to figure out how productive you can be in a time chunk and then make sure you schedule time. Most of the time, I'd tell you to get up and walk. That'd be really important to move your body, get blood flow going, and that'll revive your energy too. We want to limit the distraction. We've been talking about that. Prioritizing your time, schedule things. What gets done first should be the most important things so that you don't have heavy mind type tasks in the afternoon. Unplug from technology. It's great, but we need to make sure that we're not just working into the evening, especially if you're not getting paid for it. The only people that should be working all the time would be the owners, the ones that the bottom line really, really matters to. Those are the ones that would be, say, after hours work and stuff. Also, the light from our devices disrupts our sleep and causes problems there. Setting priorities, how to decide what's important. I love this. This is one of my favorite slides in most of the slide decks that I talk through. So we'll talk about what's important. So Stephen Covey of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People state that the tasks that should be taken care of, the most urgent and most important, those get done first. Then we are looking for important but not urgent. So we get the most important things done first in the day. The things that have less demand, we want to block time for. If something pops up, hey, surprise, your neighbor, your coworker says, hey, I need this, but it's not important, then you can delegate, hey, this person's actually better to do it. or you can just push it off into other time zones of your day or week. Neither urgent or important. You want to get away from that task as much as possible. For me, I've been really trying to get away from that with home chores. I have 4 kids, so taking the trash out. Like, the kids need to take the trash out. I do not. They all have 2 legs and 2 arms, and they can pull the trash down to the road. And it's not like just down the driveway. We got to like walk quite a bit. Now, I like this one. Most important tasks. The things that are most important should be focused on and prioritized. List down 2 or 3 things that absolutely need to get done, and then those are the things you want to focus on to make and move the process forward. So focus on the MITs and accomplish things first in the day. Don't let them go to the end. Now, certainly you want to be realistic with creating the deadlines in the right amount of time and plan accordingly. Recruit the right types of people to help you, or softwares or whatnot, and allow an appropriate amount of time for you to be able to accomplish all of this so that it's actually gets done and it doesn't cause more stress. So I want to thank you here for joining me today. If you have questions, comments, please post them. And I really am excited to spend this time about productivity and all. So I hope you learned something here. What's 1 or 2 takeaways? I'd love to hear that as well. So I want to thank you for your time and energy, and have a wonderful day here.